Shawnee. Welcome back. I'm getting ready for my day. Not too intense of a day, and I've already moisturized my face. I also used the Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Universal as a primer for my foundation, and I also just went in with the Becca and Smashbox under eye brightening corrector. I used it actually as a primer for my eyeshadow. And I brought with me two palettes. Now this one is the Celestial Odyssey Luxe palette in Bronze Borealis from Patricia McGrath. And I also brought the Charlotte Tilbury Walk of No Shame palettes. I feel like I haven't used Charlotte in a while, so I think I will use this. Yeah. So it's the end of the week, thankfully, and yesterday was so busy for me, mainly because I just had so much to do, so that's why I was busy. I had a continuing education program to attend, then I had a doctor's appointment, and then I had to see clients. So it was just a long day, and I'm just really glad that it's the end of the week. Now, my doctor's appointment, the neurologist told me that I wasn't getting enough sleep, which we all know, doc. We all know I'm not getting enough sleep. So I need to get that together, which has been my mantra for the entire year. I'm going to start with this shade here. So, the continuing ed thing. Basically, if you are a licensed psychologist, you have to do continuing education to continue your education, right? Because you want to be up on the latest research and the latest like theories and just how to apply things to your practice. And depending on where you're licensed, like what state you're licensed in, you have a number of credits that you have to get, and sometimes they're in different, I guess, categories. So you have to have a certain number of ethics. I know now you have to have a certain number of like telehealth education, and also like diversity. So like a couple of different things you have to make sure that you get, right? And since I am licensed in several places, what I tend to do is I get the most, like whatever state or whatever requires the most, that's the one I focus on, because then I'm like, well, this will cover everything. Except now I just have to make sure that I do any extra that needs to be done. Anyway, so I was supposed to go to one at my old job, then I decided not to. And the reason that I like to go to those is because I don't have to pay, since I'm like an affiliate at that place. But for all other ones, mainly, like, you have to pay. Now, they can be anywhere from 1 hour to all day to multiple days. And I try to do ones that are a couple of hours or the whole day, because I just can't afford to be taking 2 days off of work of seeing clients. Now, this doesn't give me the darkness that I'm looking for. Oh, yeah. So let me see. Now, I have some of my face powders from Lethal, so I think I'm going to go in this one. Okay, so the one yesterday is that going to give me, why is nothing doing what I want it to do? Yesterday was one on like implicit bias. Now, I feel like I'm very uppity because I'm like, I could do that presentation. So sometimes I feel like I'm not learning as much as I would like to, but this one was really good. I was really impressed by the presenter, and I was honestly impressed when she talked about like implicit bias against different races, especially against black folks, because she isn't black. And I was like, what you gonna tell me that I don't already know? But it was actually pretty good. Um, so implicit bias, basically, we all have biases, right? Like the example they gave. I don't even know if this fits. I don't know. I was trying to like understand it, but the example they gave was like, if I say peanut butter, like what automatically comes to your mind? Now, so the presenter was asking us that question, right? And this is where I realized, like, I need to take a seat. Okay. So she's like, peanut butter. And she's like, what comes to mind? Of course, so many people are like, jelly, right? And like chocolate and things like that. I said chicken satay. That wasn't, no one else said that. Yeah. But don't you put peanut butter in it? That was my first thought. Chicken satay. It was like 12 o'clock. I was hungry. Anyway, that wasn't the only thing. So we were also talking about like different laws and stuff and the impetus for like implementing those laws. And one of them was like, why are parking meters like they're free on the weekend on Sundays? So for some places it's like that, right? Not, I don't think everywhere. Sometimes it's Saturday, whatever. And so she's like, why is that? Like, what do you think it is that's trying to accomplish or whatever? And a lot of people were like, oh, it's like based in Christianity where like people were at church on Sundays or something, and so it was like the Sabbath, blah blah blah. I said, because that didn't even come to mind. I said, so that I was typing it in the it was like on Zoom, and so you could type in your response and everybody could see it. And I said, so that I will, no, like they want me to spend more money in the shops, and I'll do that because I don't have to pay for parking. That wasn't the answer. So I just feel like my automatic thoughts were just different from like everybody else. Yeah. No one ever really responded to what I said, so, you know, I don't know what to say. I cannot get the depth that I want, so now I'm gonna go into this ultimate edit from NYX Cosmetics. This is the Ultimate Queen palette, so there is a very deep shade here. So then after that, I kind of just, no, I didn't stay quiet. I didn't. I kept going. That's part of my charm, okay? It's part of my charm. But I'm just like, girl, chicken satay. They want you to spend more money. Because I'm just like, parking is expensive. So if I don't have to worry about parking, like I have a couple of extra dollars that I can use. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, that's why they decided. Duh. That's why they want you to spend more money when you go to the mall on Sundays. And so if you don't have to pay for parking, then you have more money to spend. I mean, tell me that doesn't make sense. You know it does. It makes sense, okay? It just might not be what everybody else thinks, and that's okay, because I can think what I want. Even if other people think I'm a little off. That's okay. Ain't nobody, like, ain't nobody tripping. So that was my yesterday. And then I went to the doctor. Basically, this was like one thing after the other. So I think the presentation started in the morning and it ended at about 1:30, and my doctor's appointment was at 2. And then I had to come back because I had a client at 3 and 4. So it was just like back to back to back to back to back. We did have a bit of a break during the presentation, which was good because since it was on Zoom, I had gotten ready with like makeup and stuff, but I still had my nightgown on. So we had like a 10-15 minute break, so I was able to like put on real clothing, because basically as soon as it was done, I had to go. But also when you do those things, you can't just like pop up and like they have to like prove that you're there. So sometimes they'll have like a question that you need to answer or something. And then if you want to get your continuing education credits, you have to take a test like right after. And you have to get an 80 or above. We already know that I I always pass. Knock on wood. I tried to get 100. I got a 96, which I guess that's okay. But it's okay because I stand by the answer I gave. Because I was like, this is the answer. This is the correct answer. I don't know what y'all talking about. So now I have those credits and I need to put them into my little Excel sheet because I have to renew my DC license at the end of the year. Yeah. What am I doing? Oh, I want to use a shimmer out of here. Maybe I'll just use both because I've already used like all of the shades in here, and I'm just going to use my finger. I was reading the news, just kind of perusing. I mean, besides some of these fools talking about circumcision leads to autism, I don't know, like, I had to put on my researcher hat because I was like, there's absolutely no way. And I read the article. I don't know if you heard this, but I read the article and I was like, this is not what it means. Like, the article, I don't even think it was peer reviewed, but also there were so many things that were misinterpreted. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I mean, when I tell you I was pouring through that article, I had to put my reading glasses on. I was looking at all of the data, I was looking at the numbers, the confidence intervals, all of this stuff. Because I was like, ain't no way this is true. Y'all trying to figure out all kinds of things as to why. I just feel like non-medical people, especially in the government, shouldn't talk. I mean, that's not completely true. Like, I don't think you can completely, trust everything, especially because the field of medicine still holds a lot of implicit bias. Look at that. Like, especially about people who are considered obese according to the BMI thing, which the BMI thing is a piece of trash. Like, it does not really indicate health, and someone who scores like high on the BMI because of their weight, it doesn't differentiate that person from like a bodybuilder who's also going to score high. Like, it's just stupid, but the medical community continues to use it. And also there was this idea that Black people don't feel pain as much, and so Black folks they tend to be given pain meds less than other races. They're just like, girl, you ain't for real in pain. You black. Not true. There's been so much research using black people without like anesthesia or pain meds or anything like that. So yeah, and you know how we have the speculum and all that stuff for women's health exams. That was developed by someone who experimented on enslaved black women without anesthesia. Anyway, so that's still like that. Those biases are still within the medical community. So basically, you can make stuff sound like it's true, even though it isn't. What was I talking about? I don't know. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was what happened at the San Diego Zoo. Now, I had to learn, like, why zoos aren't the best. You know, they're caging wild animals, essentially. And so, you know, with the social media and everyone having cameras on their phones and stuff, like, people are in at the zoo, like, taking pictures of the animals and stuff, posing with folks, falling into the gorilla enclosure, like getting too close to the lions, like all of that stuff, right? So people were there watching the gorillas, and there's one gorilla named Denny. Denny is 10. Once he had gotten older, he was put in the enclosure with his half brother. And Maki, I think, Maka is the brother's name. And he unfortunately passed away. So they're like, yeah, Denny is, you know, grieving and all that stuff. Now, cut to the other day, and somebody's filming, right? Denny takes a running start and bashes into the glass, cracks the glass. Now, thing is, prayerfully and thankfully, it's like 3 panes of glass. So he only cracked the first pane of glass. I'm like, this dude could get through that and probably the next 2, okay? Because he's like 500 pounds and he's a gorilla. And so people are like screaming and stuff because, you know, they were close to the glass. And when I tell you, some like researchers, doctors, whatever, animal doctors, zoologists, they're like, you know, it could be he's feeling stressed, he's grieving, yada yada, you know, like that could be what kind of triggered him, or maybe someone in the crowd did something stupid. That's my phraseology, not theirs. Did something stupid and he reacted. The zoo the zoo is like, nah, that's real. That is real normal for adolescent gorillas. Like, he was just playing, guys. Like, he was just like, not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right? Yeah. He was just, you know, that's what they do. They adolescents. I'm like, you know what, San Diego Zoo, y'all are full of it. You are telling me that this gorilla, this 500-pound gorilla, took a running start and bashed against the window, and you gonna tell me he just having fun? He just an adolescent. Now there is some, they're like, well, yeah, they do, like, adolescent gorillas do like try to show their strength and blah blah blah. Danny ain't never did that before. It don't sound like he ever did that before. So somebody in that crowd must have did something. Or Denny is like, I'm tired of y'all looking at me. You know, like, let me grieve in peace. But you all got me enclosed in this little place where I can't really do nothing. And then I have this fresh meat sitting over here staring at me. And you know what probably happened? They didn't say this. I'm just hypothesizing. Somebody probably was taking a picture. Maybe it's flashed, or because you see the video of it on the news. So obviously somebody was recording, right? I'm like, y'all need to leave these primates, these like wild animals, leave them alone. If you don't leave them alone, just like how them orcas be like, those are killer whales. I don't know if you know that, San Diego Zoo, but just like, don't do it. People, listen, I don't know how we have evolved to the point where we're not scared, because people have like wild animals that they be keeping. They got alligators and stuff. I read a story where this man had 7 lions. So you have one for each day of the week. Like, if that doesn't convince you not to take your ass over to the zoo, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Because Denny gonna come right on through them next 2 panes of glass. And apparently they're like, Denny and his companion or whatever are being, what did they say? Basically, they being kept somewhere else so that they could fix the panes of glass. And I'm just hoping that they don't like get some cheapo panes of glass from like Amazon and use that to like fix the thing. Because you know, people like to cut corners. Everybody likes to cut corners, and I'm not saying that I don't like to, but listen, I feel like in certain positions you can't be doing that, okay? You can't. So I think I will use the NARS foundation. I don't even know if any will come out. Oh yeah, here we go. Because I've been using like my regular foundations, and since they're matte, like sometimes they're too matte since the weather is changing. Like, it was 42 degrees this morning when I left the house, and I was like, I'm gonna wear a dress. Girl, no you not. Put them pants on. But the pants, like, I feel like they're, you know, I remember these pants because they're a little tight. So I had to like unbutton them while I was driving. Then when I got to the parking garage, you know, I'm getting out the car and I'm like, oh snap, I need to button my pants. And I looked so suspicious because there was somebody parked next to me, like, and 2 people were in the car, and I'm standing by my car like, I would have had a problem. I would have reported that person if I saw that happening. I would have. I almost reported myself. I wasn't doing nothing. I was trying to button the pants, but like my shirt was getting in the way. It was just a lot happening. Yeah. You know. I'm going to use my Tarte, whatchamacallit, concealer. Okay, you know how AI has become so popular? And I've read so many stories of like AI telling people to use drugs like heroin, and, you know, telling people to kill themselves, like all this stuff where it's like, maybe we should leave this artificial intelligence alone, but whatever. Who am I to say what we should and shouldn't be doing? But I read this thing and I just like, okay, just this like high up military general has been using ChatGPT to make decisions within the military. It's like, we're just asking for it, okay? We are just asking for something, not even something bad, because bad is already happening. We're just, listen, y'all remember when ChatGPT came out, I bet you it was around for a while, but they just released it to the public, being very conspiracy theorist. I just remember being like, I'm not gonna use that. Like, you know, that just is weird to me. I have used it once. I typed in something about like creating a blog for my website, but what it said was exactly what I was gonna write. So I'm like, okay, I'm just as intelligent as ChatGPT. But the fact that high up military officials are reliant on ChatGPT, I'm sorry. I am not okay with that. And then y'all had the nerve to let us know. Like, I would have, ignorance is bliss, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad I know, but I also wish I didn't know. You over here talking about you using ChatGPT to make decisions. What? No, that's just, I feel like that's a little too far. Like, and people are being convinced to do these things. There was a guy who basically poisoned himself. I think he had Brahmism, which is like a old school disease, disorder, or whatever, because ChatGPT told him to substitute his sodium carbonate or something, regular old table salt, with sodium bromide, which will poison you, because he was using it for 2 months because he had wanted to cut down on his salt. Poisoned himself, ended up in the hospital talking about he's having hallucinations and stuff. I wonder why. Maybe because you took a powder thing that is used to, like, it's used as an anti-seizure medication in animals. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing? We are actually on the verge of just wiping ourselves out, which I'm not opposed to, because Earth is trash. Earth is another planet's hell. You can't convince me otherwise. It is. We just need to control, alt, delete, or something, everything. That's what we need to do. Because we have lost the plot. Girl, I don't even know that the plot even entered the 21st century. Are we in the 20th or the 21st? Whatever we in, it didn't come with us. We lost that plot long ago. Put this in here. Just like, what happened? Like, no, we're supposed to be the smartest species. I've never believed that. We are foolish, but we be doing stupid stuff. Putting 3 panes of glass to stop a 500-pound gorilla. Imagine both them gorillas get together and bash against that glass. You think anybody gonna survive? No. Because that was 500 pounds and he cracked the panel. So imagine 1,000 pounds, they gonna come right through them 3 panes of glass. And then we got this military man talking about ChatGPT is making the decisions. I'm just, what is wrong? A lot is wrong. It's disgusting. It's just, I can't. Let me go ahead and finish and I'll be right back. So here's the finished look, and I'm gonna go ahead and therapize people. I didn't even get to talk about everything I wanted to because I went off on all these tangents, which is not uncommon for me. Anyway, I hope some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. I hope that you are remembering to go get your breast exams. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's really, really important that we take care of ourselves. And yeah, I think that's it. I would love it if you like the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about and give you my opinion on. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.